2, and 1.
Welcome to the Game Case, a show for, well, anyone that plays World of Warcraft. The show rife with ramblings, tips, tricks, and goings-on in WoW. Here's your host, Chris Case.
Well, hello, hi, howdy, and welcome to episode 69 of the Game Case. I am Chris, also known as Cuddles, a Brewmaster monk on Airy Peak in the Convert to Raid Guild.
And I am Turt, a Beast Mastery Hunter on the Airy Peak server, also in Convert to Raid Guild.
This week, we're going to talk a little bit about our weekend gaming, answer some questions from the Cuddle crew, and then we have the honor and the privilege of having some podcasting royalty in the house tonight. An absolutely wonderful, an amazing member of the Warcraft community, somebody whose podcast I started listening to before I actually started playing Warcraft. Somebody that I look up to, and I'm really excited and honored to have on tonight, the co-host of the Training Dummies, Hend. How are you tonight?
I'm doing great. So when's the podcast royalty get here? I thought it was just me as the guest this evening. I'm waiting for them. Who is it? Who's the surprise? A surprise guest? That's awesome.
They'll be
I like
shortly.
surprises. Cool.
Thank you so much, for taking a week out of your busy schedule to come see us. How was your week of life?
It was good. I just finished watching the Grey Cup as we were talking pre-show. So that was actually a very exciting game. It went into overtime, which was why I was a little late getting here. But other than that, yeah, it's been kind of an uneventful week, which is always nice. After kids football this year, I'm ready for things to kind of slow down a little bit.
Well, see, how was your because I know, Hend, you're our neighbor up north, so you didn't have Thanksgiving this week. You did it like a few months ago, right?
Yeah, that was probably 6 weeks ago. It's the second Monday in October.
No, do you not just take advantage of being like, okay, well, I guess we could celebrate American Thanksgiving too?
Well, I try and take advantage of the Black Friday sales. We have now adopted that completely here in Canada. So, yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Nice.
See, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. It's busy. We pack like 3 of them into like 2 days, so it's a lot of traveling and everything. Lots of food, lots of turkey. This year we tried some not really non-traditional things, but new things. Like we did a pumpkin cheesecake, which turned out amazing. But otherwise, just lots of food, lots of family. Totally fun. What Thanksgiving usually ends up being.
Nice. We had a wonderful Thanksgiving here in Florida. It was 81 degrees, bright, sunny, clear skies. Just want to rub that in for anyone north of me. I'm actually considering going to the beach next weekend, if that makes anybody feel bad. Got to go work on my tan, maybe get some surfing in. It's that time of year. It's beach time. But no, Thanksgiving was wonderful. Way too much food, probably too much booze, or not enough. I'm not sure. I know that I had a wonderful time. In-laws are here until tomorrow when they leave. So that will be the official end of the Thanksgiving season. And you know what? It's the Christmas tree is up. The lights are on outside. The inflatable Yoda is going. So it's Christmas season already. So yeah, with that, why don't we just go ahead and dive right into what we've been up to this last week within or outside of the Blizzard universe. Hend, why don't you kick it off? What have you been up to with gaming?
Oh, with gaming, it's mainly been Warcraft, a little bit of Heroes. I've got a few matches into working on that 15 and 30 quest to group with friends. So I think I'm up to about 10 maybe. Yeah, it's probably closer to 8. I haven't done it that often, but a little bit of that. And then other than that, it's been Warcraft. It's just a lot of, the old artifact, leveling, getting the artifact power on both my Destruction Warlock artifact and my fishing artifact. So I've been doing a lot of both of those. We had our raid on Friday. That went well. We did a clear of Emerald Nightmare normal. And then we got a couple pulls on Odin, but it was getting late and we didn't get it this week. We've killed him twice already before, so that was okay. But yeah, other than that, not a lot.
Woohoo. T, how about you?
Not too much wild time this week, just with Thanksgiving right in there. Still working on the 4-year anniversary for CTR, which we are officially less than 2 months out from. I did, and I know everyone's going to be really jealous of this, rock some Candyland and Shoots and Ladders this week. And I may have taken some pride in beating my 4-year-old. I did let him win a couple, so it balances out. The universe is okay. But yeah, other than that, just kind of hanging out with family, so not too much time for games this week. Nice.
Well, I got to I actually have some big news on the Warcraft front. But before I dive into that, I did a bunch of Overwatch. I tried Heroes, guys. I know that we're supposed to play 30 matches. I know that we're supposed to like it because Blizzard's awesome, but I just can't MOBA. Like, I'm sorry. Like somebody just unfollowed, somebody just unsubbed to the podcast. I just can't Heroes. I don't like MOBAs. I've tried. I like the game. I love the concept. I love the heroes. They're doing a phenomenal job, but I just can't do it. So I did a bunch of Overwatch, hit rank 14 in Hearthstone, did the Tavern Brawl, all the fun things. I think I'm gonna, if it's still on sale after the show, I'm gonna pick up StarCraft 2, and I'm gonna give that a go because I've never played it. And but the big news is Warcraft. Everybody knows that I had not yet hit 110 as of like 2 weeks ago. I have hit 110.
Yay!
And I raided on Tuesday. So I actually got back with my team, the Rubber Chicken Coalition. We did a normal clear of Emerald Nightmare. We got through Odin and went into the Hell Nightmare. We got to Guarm. We got to Guarm and got our behinds handed to us. Now, I'll be fair. I did say we when I'm talking about these things. I should be saying they. I went in at eye level like 765 and walked out at eye level like 820, I think. So thank you so much to the Rubber Chickens and everybody for that carry, for the great gear. People were just handing me gear left and right.
Nice.
I did not legitimately pick up a single piece of gear. I got gold on every boss. And I realized once I got in that I hadn't gotten any bonus roll tokens because I don't know how to do that yet because it's bad. But no, had a whole lot of fun and really excited to be back raiding. I'm going to be probably doing about every other week with those guys and just really, really enjoying it. So guys, that brings us to a magical and a wonderful part of the show where we take questions from you, the Cuddle Crew. Now, if you're wondering, if you're sitting in your chair and you're thinking, well, I want to ask questions, I'm part of the Cuddle Crew. Guys, it's super easy. Go to bit.ly/cuddlesdiscord. That's bit.ly/cuddlesdiscord. There will be a link in the show notes. And there's a Discord channel called Questions for the Show. If after that you need any further instruction, we will not be reading your questions. I'm sorry. That's easy. Just get into the Discord, ask the questions. It's that simple. We love you guys. We have one question for the show this week from Bordardo. I think I'll let T read it.
Question for the show. How do you all stay focused on the various activities you want to accomplish when you sit down for game time? I have gotten so overwhelmed that I haven't played in almost a week. So how do we stay focused when we're sitting down to play? Let's start with you, Hend. What do you do?
Usually when I sit down in the evenings, I've only got a couple hours after everyone else has gone to bed, but I usually focus on artifact power. And it's the world quest. So any world quests that have artifact power and the emissary, that's what I do first. Then I'll finish up the emissary. If I can't do it all in artifact power, and then after that, I'll normally work on just any other world quest with artifact power for those limited time there. It's just that's the goal I have right now is to finish leveling my artifacts. So when I sit down, that's how I keep myself focused is on that one simple goal.
Nice. What about you, Cuddles? How do you manage your time?
Well, so I obviously, like, it's been a big struggle for me between streaming 3 podcasts, a 5-year-old kid, driving Uber. I'm working basically 3 full-time jobs right now. It's funny. People really, they're like, oh, you're a Twitch streamer. You have all the time in the world to play games. Or, oh, you're Twitch streaming full time. You have nothing to do with your life. Like, no, I'm probably working harder and doing more stuff now than I ever have in my life. Half of it to help make up the difference between being a full-time Twitch streamer that shouldn't be, and the other half doing the stuff that's required to do that. So when I sit down and play WoW, my time is uber limited. I've found that I'm gonna get in and do this, and like I literally have resorted to, I will have a checklist of things that I need to get done. No, it's been simple leading up to now because it's been, I need to get 2 levels today, or I need to get, I need to get 1 level and do this quest. Now it's getting a little bit more complex. I'm having to work in world quests, all that fun stuff. But I think going in with intention, anytime you just log in and go, I'm going to play WoW. If you're limited on time and you're being overwhelmed, focus on what activities you want to be doing, what activities you need to be doing, what activities you should be doing, and give yourself the play days. Just like if you were dieting, give yourself a play day. Like, give yourself a day to just log on and go wander through Suramar and amaze yourself at how much you absolutely love that zone, its design, and its goals. But yeah, that's my 2 cents. T, what about you?
Yeah, I say I have very limited time just with work and then a 4-year-old and all that stuff. So mine is very much what's the bare minimum that I need to get done. Like order resources, I always seem to be running out of those just because I'm never on. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do the world quest to get the order resources, and then because I'm doing the world quest, I can get that emissary quest done for the day. And I usually end up having 3 going at a time because I'll play all 3 and then be like, okay, I have 3 days to finish the next one. But yeah, it's just very much, okay, what's the bare minimum I need to do? Not being on a raid team, I don't really have to worry about, I need to gather these mats or I need to make sure I have this done. So that's quite nice. Definitely a lot more leeway that way. But I do work the auction house a little bit. So I have dedicated time to sit down and be like, all right, let's get all of these auctions up, which is very fun and monotonous, but it's good. So yeah, just sitting down and deciding what's the most important and then going from there.
Right on. We do have one more question from the Cuddle Crew. It is from Alessander. How do I convert my Worgen back to looking human when she's not in combat? This sucks. Alessander, before I let anybody chime in, I'll give you a very quick piece of advice. Delete your Worgen and reroll Night Elf.
No. Roll
No.
Horde.
Oh!
No.
Roll Horde.
Oh.
Then you don't even have to worry about it at all. Like, I don't understand this question a bit. I just doesn't make sense. Like, not even a little bit.
There should be a button, Dark Forum, I want to say. I can't remember what the name of it is, but there should be a button that you can go back and forth between the two. Look in your spellbook in the general tab, I believe, not your like abilities, like whatever you pick. It's not like your resto or your feral, but look in the general section and there should be a button. I will find the name though and tweet it out to you when I get on next.
There you go. So guys, that was a whole lot of fun. Since we've now heard from Hend, and he's expressed his love for being a filthy hoardy, I think that's going to do it for this week.
All right, it was fun.
Yeah, that was a good time. No, guys, why don't we go ahead and dive into the meat and potatoes? Because we do have an amazing and wonderful guest, even if he is slightly filthy and has an affinity for putting spikes on everything. And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Such as, well, you guys both mentioned kids, so I have 3. A 13-year-old, The next one will be 11 in 3 weeks, and I have a 7-year-old.
Ooh.
I live in Canada, Alberta. I guess if people don't know that already. Accountant by day, Warcraft geek by night, and I do a podcast. I guess that's the short and sweet of it, I guess.
Well,
Right.
tell us more about the podcast you do, because I personally think it's kind of unique to most podcasts out there.
It's called the Training Dummies, and it started originally with myself, Rob, and Hoofit. As just we always helped other people in our guild. You know, if they were having trouble with their spec or something, we'd help them, or and we figured we could take this and expand it out to a podcast. So that's kind of what we started doing, is just kind of helpful topics. And when we first started, it was just the three of us, and we were the experts. And then there came we had a few guests here and there, but there came a point where Hoofit decided he no longer wanted to podcast anymore, which is fine. So at that point, Rob and I both realized that we're not experts, like, at all. So from that point on, we have gone every week where we bring an expert guest. We go out and find someone in the community who knows way more about a specific topic than we could ever hope to. And we bring them on, and we ask them all kinds of questions, and we get other questions from the community, and we have them basically tell us, like, how do you be a destruction warlock? We've had various other topics, like, lots of class guides, but we've also had topics like we've had a cosplayer on, like, how do you cosplay? I've never done that before. I wouldn't have no clue where to start. We've done role-playing topics before, or just other topics that we think are different and interesting that you might never hear in another podcast. You might hear us talk about. But it's always, and we joke about this a lot, but it's true more often than not. It's a self-serving podcast. Because in Legion, our very first class guide was a Destruction Warlock, and that just happens to be what I play. Our next class guide after that was a Demon Hunter tank, and that just happens to be what Rob plays. So it is. We do have a lot of self-serving topics like that.
I think those are some of the absolute best topics. I can say, if anybody's listened to this show or has gone back in my pod like catcher for a long time, my second episode I had Kagarai LeBlue from Monk Meditation, and he talked brewmasters for an hour and a half, and I was a brewmaster and needed to know how to play. Like, that was entirely the reason. I was like, I have a podcast. Okay, I can find a cool brewmaster. Like, it was. Yep. It's funny how often that happens in podcasting.
Yep, it works out that way very well. But one of the things we've noticed as well is, like you mentioned, an hour and a half, and those are the guests that you can. Those are the best guests, the ones that are passionate about the topic. Like, they love playing that class. Like, they go in and they do the theory crafting, and they have a real passion for it, and it shows through and makes for the best. Like, those are the best episodes we have, are when the person we're talking to has a real passion and love for the topic that we invite them on to talk about.
How do you, I guess, because you mentioned you're kind of self-serving, but how do you come up with your topics? Do you let, like, your audience kind of decide, or do you guys have, like, a set schedule? This is kind of the need, or how does that process work?
We don't have a set schedule, like, at all. We'll go weeks. Like, if we're of the mind that if we don't have anything good to do a show on, we just won't bother doing one. So we'll have several weeks, but it's just Rob and myself when we just have an idea for his show, and then we go look for a guest. Like, he'll pitch an idea to me, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's great. Let's find someone for that. And vice versa. So that's it's just topics. Like, right now is easy. Now that Legion has started, finding topics is easy because we can go through every class and spec and have content for 6 months. Like, there's no doubt there that we'll have shows coming up for a while, but it's just in the interim where things can get a little a little different, you know, a little harder to come up with new topics. Like I know we had one recently, our friend Kranos, but it was more on the technical side of stuff. So, like, what does your latency mean? Like, I always see the latency and I have an idea, but I didn't really know what it meant. So we had someone talk about stuff like that, and you know, the more of the technical stuff, like if you're having lag issues, what can you do to help yourself fix that, like on your end? If it's, you know, is it something to do with your machine and all that kind of stuff? So that's, you know, that's another one of the different kind of topics that we had, and I actually found it really interesting because it's stuff that you don't think about that someone might podcast about, but it was a good topic. Like it was really helpful, and I actually learned quite a bit from that one.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I think I may have missed that. Now I'm going to have to go back and find it and go listen to it.
You definitely should.
That is awesome. Because I, as an IT guy, I have like somewhat of an understanding, but I really don't. Like, I know what it means for like enterprise and stuff like that. But as it relates to the game, it's funny because we use those terms. You're like, oh man, I got this bad lag. But like, what does that mean? And what can you do about that? That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the guest we got, he's our personal tech support. So he knows way more than I think anyone should know about the topic. But he just knows. I don't know how, but it just, like everything he knows. I don't know. It's just amazing. But anyway, he designed our website for us. And yeah, any questions we have, like I built my own computer here last year, but I couldn't have done it without his help, you know, giving me instructions. So he's on our raid team, you know, and his name is Kranos, and he's a great guy. But it was, you know, it was also another way. Well, how can we get him onto the show? You know, it's we do that too as well. How can we get some of our friends on the show? Because they all know a lot too, right? So, and it was a perfect topic for him, and it was. You should listen to it. It was a really good show.
Right on.
I think it was the like September 26th or 27th show, in case you want to go back and watch it.
Wow. T calling it out. T is totally not a fan at all. So now we got to meet, and we got to grab a quick little picture in a very short conversation. This year at BlizzCon. I know this was not your first BlizzCon. How many BlizzCons was this for you this time?
It was my third this year.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Okay, so not like horrible, like it wasn't your what? No, this was 10. So it couldn't have been your 12th before I say that. This is my 12th BlizzCon. I know there's only been 10, but I went to some of them twice. It was great.
I know. I went Friday and Saturday.
Boom. So how did you like this BlizzCon? How did it stack up versus the previous two that you had been to?
Well, the initial wow factor, like the first one you go to, is the wow factor. Like, wow, I'm at BlizzCon. This is amazing. So that's, you know, that was over in the first one, of course. The second one, we had, I think there was 12 or maybe even 15 of our guild that went. So that was amazing in that respect. This one, well, not as many were there. There was new people there that weren't able to make it last year. So it was great in that respect. And I think that's more why I enjoy BlizzCon than anything else is getting to see all my friends in real life. Because, you know, there's people from Ohio, Texas, Buffalo, Phoenix, someone who lives right in Anaheim. You know, and we don't. Sure, we're together online, you know, every week playing World of Warcraft, but it's not the same as meeting them in person, right? And having a face-to-face conversation. So that's my favorite part of BlizzCon. And as for this BlizzCon in particular, like it wasn't any better or worse. It's just it was different, and the reason I still enjoyed it though is because of all the people.
Oh heck yeah!
Right.
It's amazing. We spend more time with some of these people, depending on your raid schedule. You may spend more time with some of the people that you raid with than you do with your actual family.
Yes.
But having that interaction, having that face to face, sharing a drink, be it adult or otherwise, or just breaking bread, or just seeing each other and being able to shake hands and hug, it makes that our relationships are extremely real that we have in game, but it cements it that much further. I feel like it takes your relationship to the next level.
It does. It really does.
Yeah, if we were all on Facebook together, you would be changing something about your relationship status with that person on Facebook after you had met them.
Right.
So outside of the awesome relationships, outside of all that, what was like a big takeaway for you from this BlizzCon as far as like the actual con? Like, was there anything that you were really excited about, announcement or anything else wise?
Overwatch League. Now I'm terrible at the game. I have the game. I enjoy playing it every now and then. I haven't played it that much because I'm terrible at first person shooters, and I'm terrible at that game in particular. But I want to see Overwatch League and how it takes off. Like I'm curious to see how this would work. I used to think esports was ridiculous. I used to think, why would I sit there and watch you play a video game when I can use that time and play that video game myself? And then it was last year at BlizzCon. We sat through most of the Saturday matches for Heroes of the Storm, including the final and Cloud9 won. And that legitimized esports for me. Like the atmosphere there was incredible. It was just like a real sports. Like it was, like just like I watched the Grey Cup tonight. It was the same thing, and it was incredible and amazing. So now that I'm on the esports train now, I want to see what they can do with this Overwatch League. Like I really want to see this. And the biggest question I have is, what cities is it going to be in? Like, is it all going to be just US to start? Are they going to have some in Canada? Like, what is it going to be? So I'm really looking forward to that and where it goes.
Oh, I mean, this for those that didn't hear about this, in case you have come out of your cave for your once yearly listen to my show, which, by the way, if you've been living in a cave for a year and you came out and you're listening to my show, I need to meet you and just give you a hug and tell you about all the other amazing things that you could be doing. Because you got other things to do in your cave dwelling life. I'm just saying. But no, for those that don't know about the Overwatch League announcement, they said that there was going to be they're basically going to make it like a legitimized sport. Guaranteed contracts, free agency, draft, combine, teams in different cities. So you would get drafted by like the Anaheim, I don't know, the Anaheim Reaper squad, and you would play for them. And after 2 years, you would become a free agent, and you could go play for the Texas McCrees, and you would get you would have contract negotiations, and it's going to be a legitimate league with the full backing, and this is the question that I want to ask after kind of explaining all that is, I was in the same boat as you, Hend. I was like, esports, psh. And this was after I did a lot of competitive Left 4 Dead back in my day, and did an extensive amount of work with game battles, which is associated with Major League Gaming, which of course Activision Blizzard has since acquired. So I was in that scene, although never like successfully or a big deal or anything like that. But I was part of the scene, went to MLG events, and never really got it. Is it the production value that Blizz is adding to these games that we already know? Is it that? Is it like because you kind of mentioned, it's like when you watch the Grey Cup. Is that
Mm-hmm.
what's brought this full circle and is what is maybe finally going to make this mesh? The fact that they are making this like a legitimate thing with amazing announcers and amazing production quality, is that it? Or what do you think the magic piece of this puzzle is that's coming into play?
That's a good question. I don't know. Like I don't know what brought it about for me. Other than just being at BlizzCon, like it could be part of the production value. It could be that, these are games we can play too at any time. So I don't know. Like I don't know if it's just the familiarity we have with these games, and that we could play these games as well, and to see that they're becoming competitive and professional leagues. Although I suppose you can play other sports at any time as well. You can get a pick-up game of football going or any kind of that thing. So I don't know what it is, but yeah, I'm not sure. I couldn't say.
Well, I can say that it's well. Let me ask you this: do you ever find yourself watching any of the Blizz games that you're not as into?
No.
Okay, so like you're still you're not showing up for the 3 a.m. Korean StarCraft finals then.
No, and I didn't this year, but the 2 previous years, I went and sat in the arena just to check it out at BlizzCon. It was cool, definitely, but I watched one match, but I didn't. I've played a bit, but I haven't completed the first one, whatever that is. I can't remember now, but anyway, I haven't even completed that. So it doesn't have as much of an appeal for me. I don't play Hearthstone because it makes me angry. Because I'm terrible. Like the innkeeper wrecks me. Terrible. So, and like people tell me it's a math game and it's a numbers game, and I'm good at math and I'm good at numbers, but I just can't get that game. So whenever I play, I get angry. So I've stopped trying. Like I haven't touched it in a long time, and I have no desire to watch it in esports either because it just makes me angry the whole game. I just don't like it. It just so yeah, but then arena as well. Like I played, I've done the PvP part in the past. I've done arenas in the past, but even that, like I'm not that interested in watching those games either. So yeah, I don't know what it is, but Heroes, yeah, I definitely enjoy watching a good match of Heroes, and Overwatch. I'm definitely looking forward to watching more. I sat in the arena they had at BlizzCon this year, and that was an amazing setup they had there. It really was. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to these. So, but yeah, that I guess that definitely does have something to do with it. Is the games that I enjoy watching or enjoy playing myself are the ones that I want to watch.
See, all right. So I got to throw out a couple things about. I'm going to defend my baby here. I'm going to take umbrage at something that you said. Hearthstone is awesome, and you should love it. Little tip, something that I did for quite some time, and this is where I actually got to the point that I was actually able to enjoy and play Hearthstone regularly, is make it and I'm sorry, this is probably a little bit overly personal. I don't think we know each other that well, but make it a productive potty time game. That's what I did for about a year. My Hearthstone game was entirely in one room of the house that had a ceramic seat. That's it. And I kind of learned the game. I got used to it. I got into it. Like, that's what it was. And then I decided to bring my Hearthstone game out of the bathroom. And I've thoroughly enjoyed it since then. And I'm like, it's funny. I'm the complete opposite. Like, I'm staying up till 5 o'clock in the morning watching like the Korea Last Chance Hearthstone finals because I love seeing it. And I'm watching Heroes. I don't even like Heroes like as a game, but I'm watching it because their announcers are so awesome. It's so
Yeah, I
hard
think
not to get pulled in.
Yeah, they've done well with their announcers on that, I think.
But outside of that, I think you nailed a lot of things on the head. T, what you got? I keep on cutting
So
you
yeah,
off.
you're fine. You've actually asked most of the stuff that I was going to ask. See, we're on sync tonight. We're on
Woo.
point. Um, I did have a question, but I completely forgot it. Oh, so okay, you don't Hearthstone. Um, but what about with like some of Blizzard's older games like Diablo, StarCraft? Do you do those, or did you ever do those, or are those just kind of off to the side?
No, I never like the original StarCraft. I never played that. I played original Warcraft, Orcs and Humans, um, like many, many, many years ago. I never did play Warcraft 2. I played Warcraft 3.
The best one.
As for the Diablo series, I never played the first two. Diablo 3, I played up until level 12. And the only reason I have Diablo 3 is because I got it free by buying the annual pass they announced, however many years ago that was, like 4 or 5 years ago. And I haven't touched it since. It's just, there's so much stuff to do in Warcraft, and then between Heroes and then the odd Overwatch. And then I've got, I don't know how many hundreds of games on Steam, because the
God.
Humble Bundle was like the bane of my existence for a while. So I have more Steam games than I'll ever be able to play. But yeah, so no, I haven't played any of the older games.
So do you do the Humble monthly bundle?
No, I actually have not looked at Humble Bundle in quite a while, and probably saved myself a few $100s.
So I'm trying to convince myself to cancel the Humble monthly bundle because I already redeemed my keys for the last 2 months. But I feel like there's gonna be something that I really want, and I have this like horrible like fear of missing out. And it's like,
Right.
well, maybe there'll be some, and there's incredible, there's great games, and slightly self-serving plug. One of the charities that we love here on this show and on my Twitch channel, stackup.org, a charity that helps military veterans here and abroad, retired and active duty, through the power of and a passion for video games, can actually be the recipient of your Humble Bundle monies. Sorry to throw that in the middle of the show, but great opportunity for it. Couldn't resist. But Humble Bundle, yeah, they literally have just inflated my. It's horrible. My Steam pile of shame is never. I think this Steam sale was the first time I didn't buy anything, and I put things in my cart and I forced myself. I looked at them and I was like, "Are you actually gonna play this? Or do you just want to own it and you're never going to download it?"
Exactly.
Because I think I have about 8 games downloaded right now in my Steam library, and the rest of them I will probably never play. It's disgusting. And like you said, WoW takes up so much of our time.
Yeah, and I really enjoy it too. So it's
Yes, and in a very, very good way. I don't say that derogatorily in the least.
Oh yeah.
Now let me ask you: did you play all the way through? Did you take a break in between Legion and WoD, or WoD and Legion?
No, I played. Well, I paid anyway. I played most of the time, like not all the time. We still kept for the most part, we kept our Friday raids going. I guess we did have a little bit of a break for maybe a month. But I do play less in the summer because the summertime means I can go outside. And when I get to do that, I did a lot of work this year in our yard, and we replaced the deck this year. So I was outside a lot more, and my desire to play anything on the computer was a lot less this summer, but I still did.
So hold on, you can only go outside in the summer? What's that like?
Well, it's not recommended when it's 40 below, so I usually don't. So yeah.
So this is now we're just talking about weather, like entirely off the rails here, as usual. But I legitimately, as a Floridian, like I make all the jokes, like, oh hey, it's 80 degrees. Like I'm going, like I am actually legitimately gonna go to the beach next weekend.
Yeah, that's nice.
I cannot wrap my head around, and I say this with no hyperbole, and not making fun or joking or any sarcasm. I cannot wrap my head around how you actually survive and live in the environment that you do. I don't understand it. You are literally 72 degrees colder than I keep the frozen food in my freezer. Like, what?
Right.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, it happens. It happens.
You start talking negative degrees, and I have no
Well,
I have no comprehension.
But then you have the wind chill in there too, and that just throws everything off.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, it's
Like,
terrible.
it doesn't get that cold that often, but it can happen. Like maybe a couple days over the winter, you can get down to -40.
Yeah.
Fun fact: -40 Celsius equals -40 Fahrenheit.
It does.
What?
Yeah. Because we hit that. It was 2 winters ago. We hit that with wind chill, and it's like we're now the same as Celsius.
Yeah, -40 equals -40.
I don't even like. I'm getting a headache just thinking about this. How do they? How what? Okay, we'll leave it alone. We'll leave it alone. I don't even know how to. So what are you like? What are you doing right now in Legion? What are you looking forward to? We have a couple really cool things coming up with patches.
Yes.
What's exciting you about WoW right now?
Well, I'm enjoying the new raid. Like we haven't been in there that often, but Trial of Valor, I did enjoy it. Like we've taken down Odin twice, Guarm once. We didn't have much time left to try Helya, but we got one pull in, and it was a disaster. I'm looking forward to the new raid when it does come out, and I'm trying to think of all the announcements they made because they were good, and I'm looking forward to them, but I can't remember what they are. I'm having like a total brain fart right now.
We have the class mounts. Those were big.
Oh, yeah, except the Warlock class mount looks like the last Warlock class mount, but with bigger horns. So it's like, well, I was kind of disappointed in that one. I'm not gonna lie. The Shaman one, that was amazing. Like I'm gonna get that on my Shaman. I have to, because that one was amazing.
I have to level a Shaman now for that mount. Yeah.
What else? What else is coming up? I'm trying to think. 7.1.5. What is in there?
All sorts of wonderful goodness.
Yeah, but what specifically?
Big Karazhan.
Did that get Slate, or was that 7.2?
7.2.
I'm looking forward to that too.
Yes.
But yeah, Karazhan, I want to get in there and try Karazhan. I really enjoyed that the first time around. I still haven't had the time to finish my attunement. I have one mythic left to run, but I do want to get in there and run Karazhan again. So I am looking forward to that as well.
That's something I'm really looking forward to Karazhan. Just seeing that I've put the blinders on. I have no idea what's going on in there. I don't want to know. I want to go in there, and I feel like that's having been a WOD baby and having not experienced Karazhan on my own when it was fresh content. I want to see what this brings, and I want to experience this with fresh eyes.
Plus, I mean, it's Kara. Like, everyone loved Kara. I mean, when you were doing the LoL and Mist and the LoL and WoD, people were still going back and doing Kara. So to have it revamped, just genius, Blizzard. Absolutely genius. Good job to you guys.
It's still my favorite raid. Like, when we completed it, because we were always like a patch behind in our old raid team. Like, we eventually completed it, but we were always a patch behind. So Karazhan was our real first raid, like, that we did complete, and we killed the prince. But it was just the feeling of progressing through Karazhan, like progressing through the raid, just as you conquer each new piece. It was amazing feeling. And I don't think there's been another raid that I felt the same way as just, the feeling of working your way through this massive raid. So yeah, I definitely want to get in there again.
Right on. So, guys, I think this brings us to a wonderful and a phenomenal point of the show where we get to do some shout outs. Hend, do you have any shout outs this week?
Of course. Well, I got to send a shout out to Rob, my co-host on the Training Dummies. Everyone in my guild had one job in our raid team, TCD. And as well to our old podcast host, Hoofit, who he did take a break for Warlords, but he is now back. And actually, he came in and was the backup tank for us this week on Emerald Nightmares. So a big shout out to him. And then, of course, a shout out to you two for inviting me on the show this evening. Thank you very much.
It's been fun having you. I'm glad we can make it happen.
Yeah, same.
I'm just glad the Canadian football game wrapped up. I'm still not fully convinced that they weren't just playing hockey.
Right.
I'm gonna have to go find some actual film of this. T, do you have any shout outs this week?
Yeah, kind of a pretty relaxed week, but definitely shout out to the CTR community. You guys have already started sending me some gifts for the anniversary, and every time I log into the game, the guild chat is just filled with amazingness. I love being a part of this community. So just kind of a general shout out to all of you guys for just being awesome and making the game that much better. What about you, Cuddles, hon?
Well, normally I have like 83 people that I rattle off, but I'm gonna keep this kind of short and kind of sweet. First and foremost, of course, to our guest Hend. Hend, I told you this, and I did not say it jokingly. At BlizzCon, I really look up to you and what you guys do, and it was an absolute honor to have you on the show tonight. I thank you for what you're doing for this community, and keep on doing it, brother. I really, really appreciate your show, and really, really appreciate you being here.
Thank you. It was glad to be here.
Right on. I of course also have to shout out the wonderful and incredible Rubber Chicken Coalition guys. Not only did they refuse to take me off their raid roster, name me in Discord as their official team mascot, even though I have not raided with them since Legion. They brought me along. They let me die. They made fun of me. We had a great time. It felt like I never left. Like, it absolutely felt like I never stepped away from the team. And I think that's a mark of an amazing raid team. So thank you, Kara, Swayze, Draven Theory. I'm going to stop because I'm going to forget somebody. So, and everyone else, thank you so much to the Rubber Chickens. So guys, we have a magical and amazing and wonderful, inspiring moment of the show now where I get down on my virtual knees and I beg and I plead for those all important 5-star iTunes reviews. Guys, if you enjoyed the show, if you enjoyed what we're doing here, if you appreciate what it is that we do, drop those 5-star reviews on the iTunes places for the game case. If you did not like this, drop 2 stars for Why Roll Worgen, Roll Horde. Why? Because Canadian football. That's why. So, guys, that's 2 stars for the Canadian Football Podcast, 5 stars for the Game Case Show. Hend, where can people find you on the internet?
The best place is probably Twitter. I'm pretty active on there at Hend_TTD. We've also got the show on there at Training Dummies, and anything for the show related you can find at thetrainingdummies.com, including links to our Discord channel.
Woo! Gerards, what about you?
Turarts on Discord and in Twitter. And then you can email turartsctr@gmail.com.
Woohoo! Well, guys, that is going to do it for episode 69. I would like to say a very friendly thank you to the chat room. We have made it entirely through episode 69 without a single joke about it being episode 69. I am both pleased and disappointed in all of you. If you'd like to join our live audience and hang out in the chat room, come join us on twitch.tv/thegamecase at 10 p.m. Eastern each and every Sunday night. You'll also find me here 5 nights a week streaming and laughing with my chat room. Thank you for listening to episode 69 of The Game Case. You can find me on Twitter at The Game Case. You can find the show at The Game Case Show. You can download us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and all the places that podcasts are found. You can catch recordings of the live show or all sorts of fun and sometimes weird videos at youtube.com/thegamecase, or find all of the things on the official site of The Game Case Show, thegamecase.com. That's it for tonight. Hend, Turarts, say bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Game Case out.
Thank you for joining us this week inside the Game Case. Please join us next week for more news, tips, and ramblings about the world of Warcraft. Game Case out.